No, it sucked this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me.
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMazMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5.
It's really more of a way to get into tonight's show. But
I like stories.
We'll open up the phone lines right away, 617-779-0985, but you know the number already. So you want to talk Red Sox, you want to talk state of the game, whatever it is, by all means, reach out. Be happy to hear from you, particularly in the wake of that Red Sox victory yesterday. My big picture assessment of the Red Sox has not changed, despite the win yesterday at Fenway Park, another walk-off win. And in fact, the Red Sox lead the majors in walk-off wins this year, which in and of itself should kind of scare you. At least that's how I take it, because they have, I think it is 17 one-run losses this season. That's a long, big pattern. Like, that is something that has proven itself, that pattern. Whereas I would tell you the walk-off wins, they have only 6. What if that number were actually like 3? And 6 leads the major league, so I guess that's a lot. But you understand what I'm getting at. It's possible that they're worse than their numbers even suggest. But let me pause for a second before we get back into all of that, because it is a depressing topic when we talk about how this team has failed to meet expectations. Sunday night, I was sitting at home on the sofa. Sunday Night Baseball was about to come on, and ESPN was doing its hype for the game between the Yankees and the Dodgers that was taking place, again, on ESPN, but on national television. And you know what occurred to me, Jimmy Stewart? In the midst of their pumping up Aaron Judge and Ohtani, and the two absolutely fabulous players that they are, and particularly the amazing year that Aaron Judge is having, here's what struck me. Remember when that used to be you? Remember when it used to be the Red Sox? And that people, remember a time when guys like Adrian Gonzalez didn't bitch about playing on Sunday Night Baseball, and the Red Sox were actually a draw, and baseball was bigger than it is now? So there were a lot of elements in that Sunday Night Baseball aspect of it. But do you remember that? Do you remember when the team was good and the team had legitimate star power that was identified nationally, and they had leaders, and they had players who cared about winning and knew how to play the game, and they had leadership that was fully committed to winning, and they were all on the same page? Do you remember that? Do you remember what that was like? Now you have to turn on ESPN on Sunday night to watch the Dodgers play the Yankees, and before I hear from Ray and Revere, who's going to bring up the spending and the payroll, and again, it's part of the story. I get it. But the bigger point is that the Red Sox had a singular objective pretty much every year, and that was to win baseball games at the big league level. It wasn't solely about prospects or the long term or about having the same cost control over a period of years, all of which is filtered in now and completely corrupted the whole point of playing baseball or sports in the first place, which was and should still be to win. That was the whole point. It was about the urgency to win at the major league level. So that's where I want to start tonight. About how they've lost that. Because I think they have. They've lost the urgency to win at the major league level. And when I say win, I mean championships. Sam Kennedy made an allusion to this at the end of last season, that it's not about winning in 85 games and getting into the wild card. It's about winning divisions and championships. And yet, I think the Red Sox really are more interested in building an organization where they can control costs and payroll increases over, when I say control them, restrict them over a particular period of time and put out a team on the field that might have a chance of winning it, might not, but is an 88-win team and will get in the playoffs. I always say teams like the American League Central. Because deep down, I think that's what the Red Sox ownership wants to do now. I think Alex Cora knows it, and I think he wants more. So I don't think he's fully on board. And I think the fracture or gap in that relationship has spilled into the clubhouse, and Cora's inability to really kind of cope with it has spilled into the clubhouse. And this is why the Red Sox are now who they are. So Jeff Passan, we had Jared Carabas on last night. Jared, as you know, also does a podcast, the Section 10 podcast, that is wildly popular with him, Tyler Milliken. I don't know the other guys on the podcast.
Coley, who's on the podcast, he's great.
Okay, so and Jimmy, there's another guy too, right?
Jake Yazzie, he's the me of the show. Okay, except he says way less.
And so again, I'm not belittling those guys. I've just never met them, so I don't.
All good people except Steve.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that because Jared generally surrounds himself with good people. So I know it's wildly popular. But last night they had Jeff Passan on, and we played this comment on Felger and Maz today. We're going to play just a part of it here because to me this is the essence of it, where Jared is, well, you can hear it. Jared's asking Jeff Passan about what happens if this thing stays the way it is and they have to trade off pieces at the deadline. How does that affect the perception of the Red Sox nationally, et cetera? Here's that exchange.
Selling at the trade deadline, missing the playoffs. And if that is the path that you foresee for this particular group, what are the repercussions for that for the fourth straight year of this?
It's a fair question to ask, and I wish I had a confident answer. This is one of those things where I look at all of the little that's happened and all of like the undercurrents, even like before the game today. If that is what you're turning to at this point, then the season might be lost. But I'm not there. I'm just not. I'm
won the game.
I'm sorry. I look at the talent they have, and I'm not giving up on it.
Okay, so again, that's Jeff Passan of ESPN. I should have said, for those of you who don't know, Passan's been covering Major League Baseball a long time. He's out of Kansas City, but his assessment is, I'm not giving up on the Red Sox just yet. If this is who they are, and obviously they did the interview yesterday. So he was talking about the incident on the field with the Angels before the game. If this is who they are, then, we'll assess that, but I'm not there yet. Are you? Are you ready to give up? Because I'm not. And when I say I'm not telling you I'm confident in the Red Sox ability to turn it around. But I'm not saying today, rip it apart. And another thing that triggered this thought in me is that I have, look, like most people, you text constantly on your phone. All it is a bunch of text chains. So one of my friends said to me, the Red Sox should blow this up. I don't want them to blow this up. No. Roman Anthony's not even here yet. Marcelo Meyer's been in the big leagues for a week, 10 days, whatever it is. He's got 32 at-bats or some 35 at-bats, plate appearances in the big leagues. Christian Campbell's played 2 months. Garrett Crochet just got here. You're not blowing it up. That's ridiculous. And Rafael Devers has another 9 years remaining on his contract or whatever it is. And say what you want about Devers. You don't like him. You hate him. You think he's selfish. All of which is true. You said the same crap about Manny Ramirez and you won 2 World Series with him. So don't get ridiculous. Their problems need to be fixed. And the fact that they're underachieving is infuriating. Blowing it up means starting all over again. I don't want to do that. That I know for sure. Now, do I have faith in Craig Breslow? No. I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. When the Red Sox interviewed Craig Breslow, they did not want him to be their chief baseball officer. They wanted him to come in and be at the side of the chief baseball officer, continue to learn as an executive, and oversee the pitching operation. That's what they wanted. So now he's in the job because no one else would take it at the time. So now the Red Sox can paint a happy face on that, but the fact of the matter is They have a guy running the organization who is not ready to take on the job. Is he ready now? I don't know. Maybe they were a little better this offseason, though I get the sense that Theo Epstein was helping him out. Alex Cora knows it, that Breslo's not ready for this. And Alex Cora doesn't believe in the way they're going with this whole approach from the analytics and the curbing of payroll and being a 7th or 8th team in the league and spending and not a top 2 or 3 team. I don't think Cora believes in it, which means he's the wrong manager for the team. And they lack leadership in the clubhouse. They play stupidly as a result of either inexperience or the way that they are developing their players in the minor leagues. Whatever it is, the Red Sox don't know how to play winning baseball. Now, can they fix all that this season? I doubt it. But they do have some players that are talented. And I'm not telling you the roster's perfect. Crochet is good. Bayo, whether you like him or not, has talent. Walker Buehler has some talent. Meyer, Anthony, who am I leaving out? Campbell have talent. And there are other players on the roster. Abreu has talent. Ceddanne Rafaela has some talent. He lacks some of the basic fundamental things that are necessary to become consistently productive, but he has some ability. If they can just get their heads screwed on, pay attention, and play like they care about winning and not stats, they can get back in this thing, and the league stinks. Now, again, that doesn't mean I'm confident. I'm just telling you the reality. The league smells. It's a bad American league. It wouldn't take much to get back in this. I'm not confident they have a clue, but that's where I want to start tonight. I see a number of you lined up already. We'll play more Jeff Passan for you. Jared Carabas said something last night that really should send you into orbit. We'll get that to that later on in the show. Full night. A lot to get to, as is always the case when the Red Sox are in crisis, which is always seems to be the case. That's tonight on the Baseball Hour.
The baseball. on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is where the anger is coming from. You guys know it's probably going to take 85 to 87 wins to get that last playoff spot. And every day Roman Anthony's not in the big leagues, that's a day that he could have won a game for this team. Every day he hits a home run in Worcester in the 9th inning to walk it off, whatever it is. That's a day he could have been doing it with the Boston Red Sox. And if at the end of the year they fall 2 or 3 games short of the playoffs, God forbid 1 game short of it, you're just going to look back on that and say, what a wasted opportunity that was. The lack of urgency is what surprises me. Putting Christian Campbell on the opening day roster was an urgent move. Trading for Garrett Crochet was an urgent move. Signing Alex Bregman was an urgent move. Where'd the urgency go?
So there you go. Great question by Jeff Passan. Where did the urgency go? How come the urgency doesn't matter anymore? This is really the question you should all be asking, is where did the urgency go? What the organization that was so hell-bent on winning through the first 10 years of this ownership, and I'm just picking that number to split it in two-ish. Okay, the first year was 2002. Well, they didn't really build that team. The first team they built was 03. But even so, whatever. Let's call it 22, 23 years. The first 10 years of that, there was urgency. Win at all costs, pretty much. And that doesn't mean, by the way, that they made colossally stupid deals or traded away their best minor leaguers. So really, again, like Jimmy Stewart, if I were to ask just out loud, and look, if a caller has an answer to this, I'll take that too. But if we were to think out loud, which guy did they trade away in the first 10 years, and I'm talking about prospects now, that came back to haunt them? Who did they trade away? I don't remember anybody. Now, we could say that some guys along the way, Craig Hansen or whatever, maybe they mishandled them, they rushed them to the major leagues, etc. And a lot of people won't even remember Craig Hansen, Jimmy, but you get the idea. When they made the Schilling deal, they gave up bit parts. They gave up Garcia Parra, but that didn't come back to hurt them. And
there was a pitcher who pitched like 10 years for Colorado and Arizona.
Daniel Bard?
No, it wasn't Casey Fossum. But it was like not Ruby De La Rosa, but something. He had a 3-part name, and he was in the Schilling trade. And he was a 4th, 5th starter for the Rockies or the Diamondbacks, part of the Schilling trade.
Okay, so again, I don't remember him.
Exactly, that's the point. Is that in the 10 years that Via was trading away prospects, none of them, off the top of our head, like made an actual massive impact.
So the point is, they were able to balance it. They were able to keep their prospects and win now.
Jorge De La Rosa was the pitcher.
Okay, he was a left-hander. I remember him. But he wasn't great. He was okay. Yeah, I mean, he was okay.
4th or 5th starter, but had a 10-year major league career, I think.
Nobody came back to bite him in the ass, to the best that I can remember. And they didn't go out of their way to, not get veteran talent and rush guys to the... So, yes, they had some bad contracts in there. They still won. I mean, the first 10 years of the ownership, they won 3 titles. The first 5 years, from 03 to 07, 08, they were the best team in baseball. So how come they gave that up? Because of money? Because of business? They're making millions upon millions upon millions over there. That's ridiculous.
Tony, there's no fight in the organization. Say what you will about Larry Lucchino. Lucchino was always fighting. Theo was always fighting. Dombrowski would always fight. And now you've got Sam Kennedy and Chaim Bloom and Craig Breslow, and it doesn't feel like they're fighting to win. It doesn't like they're fighting to go over the tax or to make that strong trade. It doesn't feel like there's fight over there. It's like, oh, we're winning business-wise. We're doing enough to fill the ballpark, even if it's opposing fans for games. But it's like, we're doing enough.
So I would love to know what exactly changed that led them down this path. They got tired of it? Is that the deal? And I suppose I'm talking about ownership and management now. But this whole need to be more efficient in their management leads you to players that are less talented that you're trying to squeeze for every drop so that you can be an 89, 90 win team without paying for it. I don't get that. I mean, I do, from a business standpoint. But you look at the Dodgers, and again, the Dodgers are a bad example because they have a $400 million payroll. Talent still wins everywhere. Talent keeps people happy, boosts morale, builds culture. Talent breeds leadership. And leadership then creates culture. It starts with talent and a commitment to talented players, and you need both young and old and all those things. I'm telling you things that you already know, but you get the idea. Gino's in a car. Gino, what do you got?
Hey, Matt. So this isn't exactly on topic with what the show's been going on today, but even though Rafaela's home run last night was lucky, I would like to say over this past week he's looked a lot better, and I just wanted to get your take. Do you credit that to Roman Anthony kind of breathing down his neck, or do you think this is just a typical hot streak that we'd see from him and he's going to go back down?
I think it's a typical hot streak because I still see stupid mistakes. So, look, you throw Rafaela a fastball in the inner half of the plate or you miss on the inner half. He can hit the ball hard. And there are times where he sprays the ball to right field and will use the whole field. And he'll improve his pitch selection and take a walk or two. But he gets himself out a lot. He misses cutoff men. And that's the stuff that drives me crazy. He doesn't think the game. And if he doesn't think the game, I think they're at the point now where they got to start holding some of these guys accountable. And I'm not one of these people that kicks and screams, yeah, the manager's got to bench him. It's hard to do in baseball without losing your team. But if a guy makes a bad play, maybe you make him sit the next day. And is that such a horrible thing? Give the stage to someone else? How else are they going to learn? Justin's in Shrewsbury. Go ahead, Justin.
Hey, Matt. So kind of going off one of your points from the previous segment. So you're talking about like they need a wake-up call. Maybe that's like a good thing that they need it like now. Well, it's obviously not a good thing doing it now, but it comes at a good time. Like we have the Yankees this weekend. We have the Rays in the middle of the week, and then we have the Yankees again. And we do have a pitching advantage for 2 of the 3 games against the Yankees, and we only have to face Rodon on Sunday. So this gives us an opportunity to kind of face some of our internal competition, some of our division rivals, and kind of light a fire under their ass. So just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so Justin, look, we've had other occasions like this. You think that somehow the opponent gets them to focus more. With the Red Sox, it doesn't do you any good if you get your ass kicked by the Angels and the White Sox, and you win games one place, you lose them somewhere else. And I'm not even sure they can get up for the big games. I think there's every chance they're going to get their asses kicked. So, what it requires to win in the big leagues is showing up every day and playing with focus. It is a marathon. You can't just not run the middle of the race. So you got to keep going, and you got to play with some level of focus and professionalism and all that. You can't just chuck the ball all over the field because you're losing interest and you want to make a highlight. And that, by the way, is Rafaela. But again, he's not the only problem. He's just one of them. He's an easy guy to pick on right now because Cora mentioned him the other night. Duran's had lapses. Abreu's had lapses. They've had guys picked off on the bases. They don't throw strikes. They don't attack the bottom of the lineup when they're on the mound. It's one stupid thing after the next. Sean's in Marlboro. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Maz. So first, the 03 to 07 core was already a wagon in place before ownership took over. But blow up isn't the right term. I think you could trade Duran, Bregman, Chapman, and just bring in more young kids and just fill in your roster. But the reason I called today was I think this team gave up on being a big market team and went full analytics and full farm system when they got rid of Dombrowski, because Dombrowski used to just trade everyone and they were winning. But I think management didn't want the payroll, even though they were winning. I think that's when everything changed. They just went full nerd.
So, Sean, look, that's the point that seems the clearest for the Dombrowski reason that you talked about, the decision to trade Mookie Betts. I still think there was an element with Mookie Betts of him not wanting to be here. So just think it out. Everyone says, well, they signed Devers because of the fallout from Mookie Betts. So then what? They wanted to let Betts go and then they gave the money to Devers instead? Is that it? Like, in other words, did they think they were going to trade Mookie Betts and not have fallout? Of course not. They knew there was going to be an uproar about that. What they didn't expect was the losing. They thought they were going to be better prepared to win somehow. And this gets back to the analytics, the philosophy, the approach, all of that. It's not working. So analytics are meant to be, a complement with an E. C-O-M-P-L-E, complement. They were supposed to assist in the player development. It wasn't supposed to be the driving force in the organization. It's become that, it seems. And so they can talk all they want about exit velocity and that being tied to success at the plate. You still have to play the game on the field. And you got to put the ball in play and force the opponent to make plays defensively because they screw up too. So the Red Sox have gone so far over the edge on this stuff that they've completely altered the way they play baseball. And now they're trying to integrate young talent into a way or into an environment that's hard to do it in the first place, and where now they're losing. This is what they were for a long time, for decades. And it was impossible for young players oftentimes to come up here and do well. Kevin Majori's got your headlines. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'll say something that I'll play for you something Carabas said last night on the Baseball Hour that, again, I think should really make you pound the table and roll your eyes. It's kind of appalling when you think of it in these blunt terms. We'll play that for you when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
Essential Sports. And more of the Baseball Hour on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Kind of going back to Christian Campbell, I think not making excuses for him because it is the truth. He had 1 year of college ball,
right,
and then started like a year ago. Now was in A ball. Like he flew through the minors. He's still learning how to become a hitter.
Correct.
Like he's not a finished product. I can call up Roman Anthony tomorrow, and I feel great about like the hitter that he is. But Christian Campbell, it's like, yes, there was a ton of success in the Red Sox minor leagues, which got him a spot on the opening day roster. But at the end of the day, I feel like my working theory here is he got the opening day spot over a kid like Roman Anthony because of the willingness to sign the extension. I think going into opening day, they knew that they were going to end up signing that extension, so they're not worried about him winning Rookie of the Year or losing service time or having that extra year at the back end. With Roman Anthony, it's like this is going to be a little bit more difficult of a conversation, but if Roman was talking contract the same way that Campbell's team was, Roman Anthony's probably on the opening day roster. Yeah.
So again, that was Jared Carabas last night on the Baseball Hour. We've said this on Felger and Maz as well. Okay, Christian Campbell is here because he was willing to play ball with him. He was a 4th-round pick. And the Red Sox knew that he would sign the contract, so they signed the deal, and they can bring him up to the big leagues because they don't have to worry about the service time issue with Christian Campbell because he signed to a long-term contract. Great. So think about the message that sends to the rest of the organization, that decision. Okay, just think about that decision. You play ball with us, you'll get to the big leagues sooner. Has nothing to do with how you play, but you play ball with us and give us the contract, we'll bring you up sooner because we want you in the big leagues because you're a more cost-effective alternative if you're signed. And you'll be here longer. So meanwhile, Roman Anthony's still in AAA because what? Because the Red Sox want to control his service time, make sure he doesn't come up too early and win the Rookie of the Year award so that he can leave after 6 years instead of 6.4 or 6.5. In other words, they'll get part of a 7th season out of him at a minimum. That's why. I mean, that's ridiculous. If that is, I'd say if that is the reason, and it sure looks like it is, but if that's the reason, that's just that's a great way to establish culture in your organization. We'll pay the guy who's less talented, doesn't have as bright a future. We'll pay him and bring him up. We'll bring that guy up because he'll take the money. So Bayo's here. Rafaela's here. Both of those guys signed. Rafaela should have been benched already at some point. Or maybe should have been demoted at some point. So we're talking about sending Christian Campbell now back to AAA because he's struggling so badly. But, well, it's not like they put a much better bat in the lineup, and he's got a contract. So we're invested in the kid. So let's not ruin him. We got to keep him at the big league level. Meanwhile, Roman Anthony is still pounding away in AAA down there. Because what? Because he's harder to sign? I mean, that's a joke. That is a freaking joke. And it's not operating with urgency, which is what we were talking about earlier. You're putting the business of baseball ahead of the actual on-field game. Now, I don't know if Roman Anthony's enough to change their fortunes or not. I doubt it. Because their holes are so great. It would help. I sometimes question the motives of fans, too, as to why you want Anthony here. Particularly the ones who are all geeked up. And I use that term in multiple definitions. That you're so dorked out on the exit velocity and everything else that you'll get off on him hitting a hard ground ball out. I don't get. To me, there's only one reason to play the game. That's to win it. It's not for the highlights or the snackable content on your phone. It's to win the game. That's the reason to play it. To win it. Which can mean giving yourself up and sacrificing statistics for the betterment of the outcome. ground ball, move a runner over, sacrifice fly. Do you know the Red Sox hit a sacrifice fly yesterday? It was their 13th of the year. And you say, okay, what does that mean? They're tied for 5th worst in the big leagues in sacrifice flies. Boring play. Do you think the analyst looks at it and says, well, that's stupid. Sacrifice fly, you're making an out. You get the run home, but that's dumb. You gave away an out. That's what you do to get a run home sometimes. You give yourself up. So are the Red Sox willing to do this stuff now? Or are they all going up there for exit velocity? What the reason that Rafaela bugs me so much, and I felt this way about Hunter Renfroe when Hunter Renfroe played for the Red Sox. Hunter Renfroe would make the stupidest throws. And I told you over and over again, he's making bad plays. So you love watching him throw a guy out because it's exciting and fun to watch. But they're stupid plays. Hunter Renfroe was a stupid player. And a lot of these analytics players are stupid players. Michael and Franklin on Alex Cora. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Maz. Cora is running the team like he's trying to get fired and open a food truck. Every game, there's a new disaster. In the ownership, they treat the fans like tourists dumb enough to pay $50 to watch Bobby Dalbec strike out while the bullpen catches fire behind them. It's not the Red Sox anymore. It's the Red Flag Sox. Thank you, Maz.
Okay, so look, the whole idea of what did he say? They run it like a what? I missed that at the beginning. I can't remember. But they run it like you're tourists. They treat the fans like they're tourists. That's because a lot of them are now. People coming in from other markets to watch their team play because the ballpark's a museum. So this is the thing. They've made the ballpark the attraction. The team sucks that lives in it. But the ballpark's the attraction so they can sell the tickets to the people out of town. I don't like that any more than you do. I told you, people say, who do you blame more? And those are all things that we can talk about. And I'm happy to talk about them. At the end of the day, they all deserve some measure of blame. The whole thing with analytics and the analytics age, the players have completely bought into it to their own detriment. Fewer starting pitchers now get paid than ever before, it feels like. The ones that are getting paid are still getting paid big contracts like Max Fried. So the average salary probably doesn't necessarily reflect it. But fewer guys are making the money. And guys are blowing their arms out constantly. And the pitchers still say, oh, yeah, let me throw, I'll do it. I'll throw 110 miles an hour. Their agents will try to. And my arm will blow out, but that's okay. My career will last 2 months. And I know why they have to, because some other guy will do it. Meanwhile, the analysts keep saying, why are we getting all these injuries? Or they don't care about the injuries because they're just getting rid of disposable pitchers. Guys who otherwise wouldn't be in the big leagues if they weren't trying to throw 102 miles an hour. Alex in Connecticut. Get Alex.
Max, you couldn't have hit it. You've saying so much right stuff tonight. I had to call you back. By the way, I just wanted to say Anthony Rizzo was a guy that I thought of that I wish we hadn't traded. We traded him, I believe, in that Adrian Gonzalez thing from the Padres years ago.
So,
and
yeah, good. Go ahead, Alex. That's a good one.
Yeah. Anyway, and I wish we had gotten him back even when he went to the Yankees just for his last couple of years. It always bothered me because I always loved him. Anyway, what I was saying is, Breslow is the problem. And I worry now because we get a guy like Bregman, who's fantastic. I love the guy. And why wouldn't he want to opt out? Sitting back, watching everything that's going on. We should never let this guy go if we can't. It's like we should never have let go of Schwarber. There's a guy we should never have let go.
Okay, Alex, so you're jumping all over the place now. I'll stick with Bregman. To answer your question, why would Bregman want to stay here? I don't think he will. Unless he misses so much of the season that his value is completely destroyed now and he ends up staying. So this injury, in an odd way, as much as it hurts the Red Sox for this season, might end up helping keep him here. Unless he comes back and plays great and opts out. So we'll have to see how that one goes. Anthony Rizzo's a good one. That's a guy who was pretty good. And that's a move they when you really weigh it out, that they should regret. Because Adrian Gonzalez was a disaster here. There was a right-handed pitcher, Jimmy, they traded as well in that deal with Rizzo, who they drafted highly and they thought was going to be pretty good. Oh, God, Casey something?
Casey Kelly.
Casey Kelly.
He was a shortstop and a right-handed pitcher.
Very good. Yeah. Casey Kelly ended up sucking. So let this be a lesson to you, too. Casey Kelly was highly touted. They traded him with Anthony Rizzo for Adrian Gonzalez. They ended up having to get rid of Gonzalez because he was such an a-hole that it helped destroy the culture in the clubhouse. So...
No, they had to get rid of Adrian Gonzalez because they had to get the Dodgers to take on whoever it was, Carl Crawford and Josh Beckett.
Correct. Yeah, correct. But the point is, it didn't work here with Gonzalez. He was part of the problem on that 2011 team. So, and honestly, this year, people called about Rizzo all the time. I'll just say this quickly. They could use a guy like Rizzo on this team. And not because he's good anymore. Because he would call out teammates and say, what are you doing? We're trying to win games. Rizzo was interested in winning. They could use more guys like that on this roster. Have a couple of callers left. I also want to get to a name that popped in my head yesterday of someone that they could add to the coaching staff that would help the communication in the clubhouse and calling people out for doing stupid things on the field and doing it in a way that the players might actually be receptive to. We'll tell you who that is when we come back.
Sports Hub.
So one thing we've always tried to avoid here is story time, because most of you don't give a rat's ass about the stories. Yeah, I remember one time on a road trip, it just doesn't, most of the time you don't give a rat's ass. But sometimes to illustrate a point, I lapse into them, and I'm sorry, my frame of reference is obviously a different era. But the Red Sox could use a guy in that clubhouse who's not afraid to bust the chops of other players on the team and can do it in such a way that it doesn't create division in the clubhouse. It sort of makes everybody chuckle because they know it's true. So, for example, Jimmy, Terry Francona and Dustin Pedroia always had a good relationship, right? Is it to the best of your knowledge?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. You know why? Because Pedroia took care of a lot of the stuff in the clubhouse, and Francona didn't have to. And when I say took care of a lot of it, I don't mean that he was, a team captain or anything like that. Pedroia was a ball buster. Loved to bust people's chops. Loved to do it. Exhibit A, Jacoby Ellsbury, who spent a crap ton of time in the trainer's room. It was always something with Ellsbury. He was just that kind of guy. Okay? My hamstring's tight. I had to go in there and get treatment. And you know who busted his chops more than anyone about getting out of the trainer's room? Pedroia. So if a manager, and this is what Alex Cora meant the other night when he said a manager's voice is important, but sometimes the stuff has to come from other players. A player doesn't want to look like a guy who's selfish or soft to his other teammates. Very few guys want to look that way. There are those select few that don't care and are malcontents and problems. And even then, they still care, they just don't show it as much. But Ellsbury was on the soft side. Pedroia rode him mercilessly. So much so that even though Ellsbury missed a lot of games, it didn't become an issue in the clubhouse because everybody knew it and they could say it. This team needs more guys like that. Someone needs to be able to say to Ceddanne Rafaela, Ceddanne, when they were teaching baseball in the minor leagues, did you miss those days? Or did they not teach it? And then the guys in the room will laugh, and hopefully, if Rafaela wants to start a fight, he can. But you get the idea. And not just Rafaela. He's not the only one. Again, Abreu. I'd even do it with the coaching staff, frankly, because I hate the way they pitch and hit with men in scoring position. But I've gone on too long already. Joe Murray's got you for the balance of the night. Kevin Majori will get you caught up on headlines. It's Marco Sturm, Kevin, with a T.
Coach Marco.
Coach Marco. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Baseball Hour.
Sturm has spent the last 3 seasons as the head coach.
From the Telford Type Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe